fornication, having sex at those temples. If you had a daughter, at some point your daughter had to go to that temple, offer herself up to the priest and the priestess of that temple, and have sex with a man for money to help support the temple. Every Greek and Roman woman had to do that. All of them. All of them had to do that, man. So you coming from a society where everything we reading right here was totally normal. Fornication was normal. Adultery was normal. Okay? So in here, this is a regular, this ain't even this is a regular dictionary from 1991, Webster's 9th Collegiate Dictionary. Okay? So you look at, I think this is the one. When you look up Saturnalia, I hope this is the one. It says Saturnalia. Saturn. Because Saturn was seen as one of the gods, so-called gods of, Saturn was seen as one of the so-called gods of agriculture. Okay? It says Saturnalia, the festival of Saturn. Okay? The festival of Saturn in ancient Rome, beginning on December 17th. Then the next one says what? An unrestrained, often licentious celebration. Now look what it has underneath of it. Licentious. It has orgy, excess, extravagance, which is like the whole like Emmy shows and the music awards and everything. Okay? Orgy, excess, extravagance. Now it says an unrestrained, often licentious celebration. So now what we do now is look up licentious. It's going to give you more clarity. So this is what was going on in ancient Rome. So all these things that Paul is talking about is things we still doing now. But they're just going under, it's just called partying now. Okay? L-I-C-E-N-S-C, right? L-I-C-E-N-S-C-I-O-U-S. Licentious. Okay? It says, lacking legal or moral restraints, disregarding sexual restraints. That's where they get the little Mardi Gras, they get the little masks, remember? Whoever looked at that series Spartacus, anybody ever look at that series Spartacus? Remember when Spartacus went in and had sex with that woman that hated him? He had the mask on, and then some kind of way the mask came off, and she was like, oh man, because the Romans and Greeks got down like that. They would have sex with people, but the people would have their mask on, so you wouldn't know. In other words, they owned us, and they would make us go and have sex with a customer, but that customer's face would be covered, so they wouldn't know, we wouldn't know who we were having sex with. And sometimes our face would be covered, so they wouldn't know who they were having sex with either. So that's what the Romans did. And when they had little festivals and parties and stuff, they would wear a little mask. And that was one of the purposes of the mask, was to hide who you were committing this filthy act with. Okay? So it says disregarding sexual restraints. Then it says number 2, marked by disregard for strict rules of correctness. All right? Now this is 1535, this definition was out. So that whole revelry, going to the party and partying and stuff, all that was against the Most High. All of it was worshiping other gods. That's why our people, we really got to look at what we're doing, what our family's doing, and what level of participation we participate in people that aren't keeping the Torah. Why? Because we can fall off into some evil things without even knowing it. A lot of evil stuff we can fall into. I mean, you might think it's okay to, you know, drop somebody off someplace, but they could be going to a daggone Easter egg hunt. Okay? That's like dropping the gay dude off at the boys club. You know the Most High gonna hold you responsible for that. So all these works of the flesh, man, they start with thoughts in your mind. If you just keep your thoughts on the path where you know the Most High is 100% pleased with you. And one of my principles that I stand by when I'm living and when I'm teaching is, and of course, I'm not to the level where I perfected or mastered this. It's a daily struggle. But when we make choices, we have to make choices out of periods or exclamation points in terms of how the Most High feels about it. We don't want to make choices that's question marks. We don't want to be questioned about what we're doing and how we're doing it, okay? We want to make sure we're making that right choice, okay? So it's 8:30. That's about 2 hours of class. We finished the works of the flesh. Revellings, to finish that verse, please.
And such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of Allah.
So they that do all these things above will not inherit the kingdom of the Most High. Okay, so maybe like next time, probably next week, we can go into 22 all the way down to 26. Now, all we did was explain these things. We didn't go into a whole bunch of extra side stories and, you know, go to the back of the barn, back to the front, and down the rabbit trails. We just stuck with what was here. Why? Because these small 1, 2, 3 verses, Paul is showing you how to gain and maintain your eternal life. The opposite. Look at adultery. Respect for the sexual and the marital union. Fornication. Stay away from sex that's unlawful. Uncleanness. Keep yourself clean. Lasciviousness. Keep yourself chaste and sexually restrained in your appearance. Idolatry. Only worship the Most High. Witchcraft. Deal with spiritual things that link back right to the Bible. Hatred. Love. Variance. Be agreeable. Emulations. Don't be jealous of anybody, but try to be a better person in the eyes of the Most High. Wrath. Be forgiving and loving. Strife. Try to settle your problems according to the scriptures. Sedition. Don't rebel against anybody that's telling you something righteous to do according to the laws of the Most High. Heresy. Formulate your thoughts, opinions, ideas, and actions around the words of the Most High. Envyings. Alright? Emulate those people that are doing righteousness and try to follow after them. Murders. Try to give people life with the word of the Most High so they can be built up. Drunkenness. Try to stay sober in righteousness and be drunk in obedience to the Most High. Revellings. Party and rejoice in the Most High for the eternal life that He's given us, okay? Or be restrained when it comes to partying and drinking and stuff in the world. If we do the opposite of what's being said righteously, we don't have no problem. And that's when he goes into the fruits of the Spirit. Okay, the joy, the love, the peace, the long suffering. So we can get into that. Yeshaya. Yeshaya. Yeshaya.
Yeshaya.
We can get into that. We can get into that, Yeshaya, probably on Tuesday. And any questions or comments about anything that we went over in this chapter, or in Hebrews, or in Corinthians, or in Numbers, or in Leviticus? Anyone? Anyone? All praise to the Most High. Hallelujah. Nobody got nothing? Nothing. Give me something. Give me a question. Give me a...
I got a question, but it ain't got to do with
okay.
what we went over. It's just been something that's been on my mind for a couple months. A couple Sabbaths ago, we went over the lessons about how they, break something up, and one of the things they used was badger hair. And we know John was dressed with camel hair. These are both unclean animals. We ain't supposed to touch their carcass. I just wanted to know how did that come about.
Okay.
Just went over this. Yeah, just went over this.
So the hair, the camel's hair is lawful to use. We'll see if he just messing anything up. I don't know why he's picking stuff up, messing with things. The camel hair is lawful to use because it tells us about the carcass of these different animals. Now the badger skin, one of the understandings from the badger skin, and we didn't go over this part, was that the badger skin was all, the actual Hebrew word for that was one of the theories, because we don't have those records anymore, was that it was talking about an actual type of red-skinned deer, a special species of deer that they use. Because most times they don't touch this carcass of this dead animal, these type of dead animals, then how you gonna come back and be like, well, kill it and then go kill it and then isn't the badger a Wolverine?
Something like that.
Yeah, so we're doing hunting, dude. You're hunting Wolverines to make it. That's like, man, how many Wolverines you need to? You know, but that's what one of the theories is, was that it was translated differently. That the badger was actually talking about a type of deer skin. But now John did wear, and Elijah, they did wear camel hair. But that camel hair was could be harvested from the camel without killing it. All right. So, but if now, in all fairness, if you do kill it, I don't know, the uncleanness transfers to the hair when it's dead, because it don't transfer to the hair when it's alive. You know, so you can use the hair off of it, because we see the Most High, Elijah used it and John used it, which was the same person. We all know that, right? That John and Elijah was the same person, right? We know that?
Yeah.
Right. You don't know that?
Yeah, Mike got to refresh that.
Yeah, they're the same person. It's the same entity. In other words, when you go to the kingdom, you know, if we make it to the kingdom, and Yahweh's will we will, it's not going to be John over here, then Elijah over here, but they're going to be, it's the same person. Huh? Yeah, Yahweh the baptizer. Okay? It's going to be the same person. And that goes into, which we ain't going to get into right now. But yeah, do research onto that. You're going to have to go to you have to check some of the Amalekite sources on that one. Alright? And I believe in the Chumash over here, alright, which is the Hebrew word for 5, we're talking about the 5 books of Moses. They have like a little, some of the Rashi commentaries at the bottom. You have to look at some of Rashi's commentaries, R-A-S-H-I, or Maimonides, which they call Ramban, which is R-A-M-B-A-N, which these were Israelite men, brothers in the long time ago that wrote commentaries about the Torah and stuff. So you got a little bit of insight about the law and how it was applied. And this is before the 1600s. You know, we're talking like 1000s, 1100s back. So if you check a lot of them brothers out, they have a lot of commentaries that they wrote that have been translated into English now. So a lot of people just get stuck on King James and that's it. But you have scholars that we had from the ancient world that wrote and get different understandings and explain the Greek words and the Hebrew words so that we can have more understanding when we're looking at it from the KJV or from the House of David Torah. It actually gives you, more insight, about these. So that's what I would suggest to do. Research that particular verse and see what Rashi says about it, and then see what Ramban says about it, which is Maimonides. That's his actual name. Actually, that was his father's name. So we check out what they talking about and come to another conclusion. But I don't think it was no badger skin. I follow along with the theory that there's a type of red-skinned deer. And I don't know why they use that badger, but that's coming from a Hebrew word. So apparently there's another Hebrew word that is similar to the word for badger. So Yahweh can look that up and then he's going to get back with us and let us know what it is. Khan? Khan?
Mm-hmm. I got something else to research.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, really, I was asking because, if you wanted to go use it for his fur? You know, would that be a lawful thing to do? That's why I was asking.
Now with the fur, you actually have a good portion of the carcass attached, namely the that skin is still attached, and then you're gonna still have to tan it, you know. But so I would say no to the bear. I would say yes to the you got different types of you have different types of goats and sheep that live in colder climates than some of the bears, or as cold as the bears do. You know, which it would be thinner. Cause no, the bear has a lot of body fat. I check out the science. The bear has a lot of body fat, so that body fat keeps him warm. Now a small goat or a mountain goat, they don't have a whole lot of body fat and they're doing a whole lot of moving. But the fur that they have, the hair, keeps them warm. So if you take wool, and I don't know if have anybody ever slept under a goose comforter? And how many times it's been cold, 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 but you find yourself like coming from up under that goose down, right? Because them things get hot. Or the goose down jackets. You find yourself, but you want to unzip, but you be like, man, I might get sick. But you under that thing sweating, because that goose keeps you warm. You know what I'm saying? So the goose combined with the wool, man, is definitely gonna keep you warm. You know what I'm saying? But in terms of the rug, yeah, the wool from the sheep is gonna be a safer bet. Once again, we dealing with periods and exclamation points. Any question marks could cost us something that we're not willing to pay, or we don't want to pay, but we're being forced to pay it. You know what I'm saying? We don't want him to say, "Depart from me, you workers of iniquity, I never knew you." So even when it comes down to like a boar bristle brush, you know, you don't want to stand on what you're saying and be wrong if you can't go into the scriptures and prove it 100% beyond a shadow of a doubt. So even if it was badger skin that the Most High told them to use for that tent, the tent of tabernacle, the tent of meeting, right? Even if it was badger skin, I'm not touching no badger skin. I'm not touching no leopard skin. I'm not making no zebra skin rugs or nothing. Well, I don't know about zebra skin. It look kind of cool with the black and white. So. Now, the real talk, I mean, I wouldn't touch it just because we don't want question marks in our doctrine and in our spiritual resume that the Most High is looking at. We want our works to be, you know, stamped and approved by the Father.
Better safe than sorry.
Say again?
Better safe than sorry.
Con. Better safe than sorry. Because the Most High said that. The Most High said, and this is one of my favorite. Well, I got a lot of favorite scriptures, I guess, right? When you go into chapter 19 of Ecclesiasticus, 19:24. Ecclesiasticus 19:24. So Ecclesiasticus 19:24, right? Read that.
He that had small understanding and fear of Allah.
So, man, slow down. He that had small understanding. That means, look, I don't know if it's badger skin or not. I got no understanding on that. He that had small understanding and what?
And fear of Allah.
But I know the Most High told me not to touch these carcasses. Fear me, I love him, and I'm going to obey him. So I'm not going to do that. Read.
It's better than one that has.
It's better than one that has what?
Much wisdom.
So this person has much wisdom, meaning he can explain and theorize of why and how and what he thinks. Read.
And transgresseth the law of the Most High.
But then he break the law of the Most High. So I really not understand nothing and know I'm obedient than to break the law of the Most High, but I can explain it to you. Now remember, what he's talking about is not the Most High's wisdom. Now this is the wisdom that a lot of brothers got, man. So y'all can't be asking questions like that, man. Go into the book of James, man. Go into the book of James. Okay? James chapter 3. Now James says the same thing that Paul says, but James is going to say it about a different topic, but it still applies. James chapter 3, verse James 3 verse 15. Let's jump right to it. All right, so James 3 15 says, this wisdom descended not, right? This wisdom descended not from above, but is earthly, sensual, devilish. All right? So he said there's wisdom, there's different forms of wisdom that comes from the earth. And it's sensual. What does sensual mean? Sensual means it deals with your senses, with the natural man. It makes you feel good about doing something that you otherwise wouldn't feel good about. It makes you understand something from a carnal level. Remember the last example I think I got? I think you was here when I talked about the garment and wearing fringes at work. Then I said, see how easy that is. Now I justified it not wearing fringes because they get caught in the machine. You know? But the Most High still said to wear them. I can rationalize and give you rhetoric. That's what a lot of brothers do. They explain something to you. Try to justify it. Now remember justify how we use it now is not the same as justifying the Bible. Justifying the Bible means you was forgiven for something you did wrong. Justify now is trying to show something to be approved that somebody else might look at as not being approved. Okay? So they try to justify doing something against the Most High, but they're using sensual wisdom. Listen to what he said. Verse 17. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, meaning everybody can do it. It's not going to do nothing wrong to nobody. It's pure, meaning it's holy. It's acceptable in the eyes of the Most High. Then peaceable, so it's able to bring out peace, to bring comfort, and to bring, a sense of reserve to the person that's dealing with it. Okay, peaceable, gentle. See, it's gentle. That's why this wisdom is a gentle, type of wisdom. But we look at Ecclesiasticus. This general right here, this guy is wise, but he's not keeping the laws of the Most High. Okay? Gentle and easy to be entreated. Alright? That means it's easy to be petitioned. That's why the scripture says, I entreat you, please, like I beg of you. So you don't have to, when somebody is dealing in this level of wisdom, you don't have to entreat that person to do X, Y, Z hard. It's like, okay, I'll do it for you. Or you can seek wisdom from the Most High. Remember, James said in James chapter 1, verse 5, if any man lack wisdom, let him ask of Yahweh. They give to all men liberally. So if you don't have wisdom, you ask the Most High and he'll give it to you, period. Okay? So then it says what? It says, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. Okay, so that's how the true wisdom is. So you go back to Ecclesiasticus, chapter 19, verse 14. You don't understand all these things, but you fear the Most High, meaning what? I'm gonna do what He says to do. Period. Whatever He said I gotta do, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna try to straddle the fence. If I know He said do this, then that's what I gotta do. Period. You see, so now with the badger skin and the bear skin, I think I understand what His word is saying about the carcasses, but when you get into fibers and the hair, you on a different level, because we do see that Elijah and John wore the camel's hair. So I would feel comfortable saying, based on the relationship that they had with the Most High, I would feel comfortable saying that yes, you can use the camel's hair to do certain things. Now we talk about killing the animal, and you got to tan the hide from the badger, and from the what's the other animal? From the bear. I don't know about that one. But we know the law says that don't touch the carcasses of them. And if you move their carcasses, it says that you will be unclean. You will be unclean unto the even. When we read in Leviticus, chapter 11, and then to Deuteronomy chapter 14 goes into it also. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 14. When he talks about these the unclean animals, whatever has we can't eat them, we can't touch we're not supposed to touch the dead body that they have. They're unclean for us. But in some animals, he tells us don't touch their dead bodies. Some animals, he says that they're just unclean for you to eat. So we gotta look at that too, you know, because I know we use the feathers off of birds and animals and stuff, you know, for different things. Israel did. And I know we use the different crustacean shells, like clam shells and mollusk shells, to dye different things in ancient Israel too. So clearly there's something that we don't understand about all these different
uses.
Yeah. So we don't understand it, leave it alone and deal with what we do understand and know. Exclamation points and periods. All right. Any other questions? Comments? All right. So no other questions or comments, concerns, or whatever. All right. And I would say this. I would say that we will start probably, you know, trying to take donations, just so when we have different trips. You know what I'm saying? I said this, been saying this for like a year, but it never happened. So when we have different trips or different events coming up, we got a pot that we, you know, pulling out of, and we got a window we can throw it out. You know what I'm saying? So we got a pot we can pull from. You know what I'm saying? Me and some more of the brothers have been talking, kind of toying with the idea about how if we had all of Ohio, if we had 100 men in the whole state giving $50 a month, and that would be $5,000 a month that we would have collectively to do something with. Just off that 50 every month. You know, which is, you know, for most of us, that's, well, not most of us, but for most people, is well over what they make. You know what I'm saying? I think I even heard, I even toyed with the idea of saying, well, a brother just donate like a day's pay. There's a brother and sister donate a day's pay, you know, every month. That's just a day's pay. You know what I'm saying? Not 10% of what you earn, but just one day's pay. That's way beyond being greedy. That's way below greedy. You know what I'm saying? For a regular person, you say, oh, you know, you say, okay, give me 4 hours, you know, out of every week. So then give me what, 16 hours for the, 16 hours for the week if you work a regular week. We're just saying, well, 8 hours. That ends up being probably like, what, maybe 5% as opposed to 10%, which would be you work 8 hour week, 4 weeks. That's, 8 hour day, 40 hour week. That's 160 hours a week. Move the decimal point, that's 16 hours, which would be 10%. So if you're making $10 an hour, that'd be $160. But if you're giving just one day, instead of $160, that would end up being, you know, $80 or whatever you making in that day. And don't make it an overtime day. You know what I'm saying? But we did, if every man did that,